next session is all about getting ahead with the gold standard in the industry. I personally think that this topic is very important for students and young professionals as you are challenged to keep starting up or keeping up with industry standard. That is also why I'm glad that we have such an esteemed speaker for this session. He is an equity research analyst at Deutsche Regis Partners Inc., one of the top stock brokerage firms in the country, receiving multiple awards such as Best Equity House and Best in Equities Research from the Fund Managers Association of the Philippines, and other publications such as Institutional Investor and Asia Money. Prior to joining Deutsche Regis in 2016, he completed the lead management trainee program at Union Bank and worked under the Treasury Department handling fixed income sales.
He graduated from the Ateneo de Manila University with a degree in management engineering. He also competed with the Ateneo team in the CFA Institute Research Challenge in 2015 as one of the top 4 global finalists among 4,000 students in 850 universities worldwide after winning the championship in the Philippines as well as in the Asia-Pacific region. So let us all welcome Equity Research Analyst of the Deutsche Regis Partners Incorporated, Mr. Enrique Fausto.
All right, good morning, everyone. Hi guys. So once again, my name's Enrique, and I want to make sure that everyone, will really make the most out of today, and will actually learn a thing or two from this next talk. So to start off, I want to ask a question that I think is the most important question I'm sure is burning in each of your minds this morning. And do you want to know what that question is? What am I doing here on a Saturday morning in corporate attire all the way in SMX Convention Center? And I'm sure, it was about 4 years ago when I was sitting right there asking myself the same question. And my answer was, I just wanted some bonus points in my finance class. So I don't know what your reasons are, no? But I hope after today, you'll realize that the reason why you're here is because today is actually a very rare opportunity to think about answering this next question, which I think is even more important than what the heck am I doing here? That question is, what do I want to be when I grow up? Now, I'm sure you've heard this question so many times from your parents, your relatives, friends, di ba? Mga Christmas party, ano gagawin mo pagtanda mo, di ba? And I remember whenever I get asked this question growing up, I had a really hard time answering it. I'd always just say, probably what my dad's doing. Just because I didn't really have a clue of what I really wanted to do. So now I want to ask the people here in the room. We have about over 2,000 students. I want a raise of hands now. What do you want to be when you grow up? Does anyone here want to be a lawyer? Raise your hands, please. Is there anyone here? We have some here. Nice. So you guys probably watch Suits now. Anyone here wants to be a doctor? Wants to save lives? Any want to be doctors? No? Lamshado. How about anyone here who wants to work in tech? Like startups, the new wave. Tech, fintech, no? Nothing? Wala? Okay, meron. Nice. And of course, since we're in the, in a finance summit, who here is thinking, I probably might do finance. I'm thinking of doing finance. Okay, we have some people here. And I'd want this talk not just to be for you guys, but I want this talk to be specifically for this last question. Who here has no clue? No clue. I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I was like you, it's completely fine. It's okay. You guys will be okay. Because today you'll have people like me and the speakers later to give you an idea of how how life has been like for us, and how it could be for you if you decide to do a track like finance. So allow me to share my story, because I find that the best way I could really learn about what do I want to do with my life is listening to other people in possible fields I want to get into, and even fields that are not related to finance, but I don't really like. So here's a picture of my family. I'm one of 3 boys. Those are my parents, Marvin and Rose Fausto. You might have seen them in my ANC. They are in finance. I am a proud son. And I have 2 brothers. My older brother, Martin, he's the one sitting down. He didn't go into finance. He actually went into marketing. And he now has his own brand consultancy firm called Brandem. And my little brother, Anton, the one standing up there on the side, just graduated last year. So he's pretty near your age. And completely not related to finance. He actually is a professional events host and dance choreographer for any of your events. You can hire him. And he's actually the recent Mix VJ. Does anyone here watch Mix? He's the guy. That's him. So that's me. That's my family. And I think, to give you a better idea of why I ended up from there to here, let's just go along memory lane. So how did things start? For me, I actually studied in a Filipino-Chinese school, Xavier. Is anyone here from Xavier? You have Xavier, guys? Nice. Best school ever. Just kidding. I studied in Xavier. I got into a lot of things. Growing up, I joined the football varsity team when I was in grade school. I tried to do like a rock band thing in high school. I joined the dance team, Dance X. And I remember at the point where you had to choose your college and choose your course, I was like, probably Ateneo, because I was totally brainwashed to going to Ateneo. At the same time, I chose my course, management engineering, because I heard, it's legit now. And second, if I get into ME, I'll still have a lot of options, because I still had no clue what I wanted to do. So I did pursue that, and luckily I got in Ateneo. I got into the course management engineering. And the first 2 years of college, I was kind of just going around doing whatever I wanted. And the latter 2 years, or pretty much where you guys are in, that's when the question, what do I want to do with my life, started to creep in. Like, I was starting to feel depression. Okay, I can't delay this so much. I have to start thinking about, what do I want to do? And I remember there were a lot of things really running in my mind when I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to graduate soon. I should probably, answer that question so that I can apply for jobs, diba? And I thought to myself, going through the different classes, what do I want? It's kind of hard to answer the question, what's my passion? Because it's hard to, build a passion if you don't really know anything yet. So if I were you, I'd start thinking about which subjects in class did you actually have, a bit of an inkling, a bit of an inclination. Hey, this is kind of nice. That's fine. And it just so happens for me, I found that in my finance class. I actually did like my professor. I won't name him, but I did like the idea of doing the number crunching and being able to really say with finality, oh, this is the story of the company because I read all the numbers. And I liked it because not just this whole boring desk job vibes, but I saw like movies like this. They're like, wow, these guys are having like so much fun, like parties, game for work. And to tell you the truth, in the real world, it's a little bit of both. There's a part where you're really working hard. There are parts you have to drink a lot. So I was thinking, okay, I'm kind of interested into finance. In 4th year, what could I do to check if it's something I really want to pursue? And I was lucky enough to stumble upon this competition called the CFA Institute Research Challenge. And I say stumble upon because I was literally random day just talking to a friend of mine. His name's Ryan Yu, really smart guy. And I was telling him, hey, I heard about this competition, about finance, kind of interested. Have you heard about it? He's like, yeah, I'm going to the orientation tomorrow. Are you going to the orientation? I'm like, there's an orientation tomorrow? So I'm like, yeah. Didn't you get the email? And then I found out the only people, at least before, I hope it's not the case anymore, the only people who got an email to this orientation in Ateneo before were people who had like QPI of 3.5 and up. And I was like, bad trip naman to. I mean, what? So I'm like, oh, whatever, I don't care. I'm gonna go to the orientation and I'm gonna do this thing. So I went to the orientation, I heard about it, and I'm gonna prove them that I don't need the 3.5 QPI to make it big here. So I competed, and luckily I got in the team. I got in the Ateneo team. And we didn't really have that much help. We were kind of on our own, kind of just bootstrapping everything, trying it out. And luckily for me, I was with a really smart team, really good guys. Like they knew everything about like modeling and finance. I had an idea, but so I just tried my best to help out in the whole team. And we were lucky that at the end of it, as they mentioned earlier in the introduction, we got it. So it was the first time Ateneo ever beat UP in the history of this competition. Sorry for those from UP. And we won nationals, and we went Asia Pacific, which when we got to that competition, we're like, oh, hey, are we going to Hong Kong or Singapore or all these places? Asia Pacific Regionals is in Manila. Shucks, we have to win again just to go abroad for free. So we did it. We got into it, and can I just share that this was one of the most intense projects I've ever done in my life. It was much more difficult than my thesis project, anything else I've ever done, because we were really spending countless hours analyzing the company, reading all the financial statements, doing the Excel model, writing a report, practicing over and over and over and over again until I memorized every single word in my script. And we timed each of our members by the second. So after, everything, I realized that, hey, this, kind of an inclination toward finance, maybe I can do it a little bit more seriously. Maybe I can actually pursue it as a job. And so, when I graduated, I did. I applied for finance positions, and what I found out was that, okay, I graduated ME, I was able to, bring up the grades to get honors. I got the CFA thing. My CV is solid, right? And then when I go apply, it's hard. As in, you'd think that parang, madali na to kasi sobrang finance yung CV ko sobrang solid finance. It's still hard. I tried to apply for different places. Wala. Not the ones I was really into. And I was lucky enough to find this management trainee program in Union Bank, great place. And I remember during the first week when I entered there, and I met a bunch of, now I guess I consider them my lifelong friends. This is my batch of lead management trainees. We were 12 really smart guys across different schools. And I remember entering there and feeling like, shucks, ang gagaling na mga to. Parang, how can I keep up with these guys? So within that first week, I decided I'm gonna do this CFA thing because I want to get more legit and I have to find a way to compete with these guys. And so I did. And I was staying like this girl. I wanted like some legitimacy. At the same time, in Ateneo, I only took one finance class. So if I'll do this for the rest of my life, I might as well learn a little bit more about it, diba? So that's what I did. So I did CFA, and of all the different courses available, at least Financial Times and a lot of these other publications say that it's really the gold standard for finance. So why not? So there, I do it, level 1, and I get this box, right? Huge box delivered to my house. And then this is the picture I took a few years ago. And this is for level 2. But when you see the box and then you remove each book and you feel how heavy each book is, I was thinking to myself, what the heck am I doing? Oh my gosh, am I really gonna do this? And since bayad na, I'm like, okay, sige, let's go, let's do it. And I thought that IRC was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but I was wrong. It's this one. Because this time, I have no teammates. I'm on my own. I literally have to plan out the next 6 months and how I will digest all those 6 books into my brain with no teacher telling me, you should study this because you have a quiz next week. Voila, it's just all me. It's just all me. And so I just kept pushing. I had to be really, I'd research how to best study, ganyan, ganyan. And after 6 grueling months of studying every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was a break, Saturday evening, Sunday, I got it. I finished the first level of CFA. I was like, nice, okay, I'm getting somewhere. And then I suddenly, like a year into my stint in Union Bank, so I already finished the management training program. I was in treasury, fixed income sales. I get a message from where I interned 2 years prior, Deutsche Regis. So this is a stock brokerage firm, which for me was like legit. Like these guys are intense, really smart, and partied really hard. Like you have to have both. So when I heard about it, I simply applied. I actually applied when I graduated, but they were like, sorry, no openings. I was like, okay, next time. So I applied, and when I said that I had the CFA, I think, you can ask my bosses, I think it helped in the decision-making process because they could see that I was really serious about it. And I remember during my conversation with the bosses before I got hired on the negotiating table, I was asking, I'm thinking of taking the CFA level 2 and 3. Can you guys shoulder that? And they could. So there really was a support for it, and I felt like it was really something that could help me. And so in September 2016, I joined the team. So this is the team, Deutsche Regis. So great team, really smart guys, and you could see that we like drinking. And here, I was able to actually start using much more than before the things I learned in CFA level 1. And not everyone continues and finishes 2 and 3, but I felt like I was the youngest guy on this team. The average turnover here was like, I don't know, the other guys here have been here for 15 years, 10 years. I think the next guy to me has been there for a while already. So I thought, shucks, I have to keep up. I have to find a way to really prove to them that I deserve this slot in a team like this. So I pushed. I did level 2, and then last year, I finished level 3. So yeah, woo, thank you. And you'd think it gets easier, pero hindi eh. I mean, after level 1, passing rate was like, I think around 40%. Level 2 comes and you think, hey, the passing rate should be higher or should be much higher kasi lahat ng mga tamad na-screen na ng level 1 eh. The only ones who can take level 2, that pumasa na, di ba? Hindi pa rin. It's like 50% pa rin ata eh. It was still low. And I felt it. Level 2 was really hard. I had to solve like every single day. And then level 3 naman, it was more about essay type, so really bridging it all together and having, that on the spot, like, okay, how best do I approach this? Even though, if you think about it, there are multiple ways to go about solving these different problems. No? But now, looking and remembering that whole story with me going into finance and taking the CFA, I have 3 takeaways, which I felt were the really huge benefits to me personally because of this CFA. First of which is deep knowledge in finance. Now, they say that it's either you take an MBA if you want to go more into business, or if you want to be more like deep into finance, you could take this. And I can say there's really a lot that you learn about finance. That's not just applicable here, but applicable abroad. instruments that you don't even know existed, but they're actually being done abroad. So it was a great way to really deepen my knowledge and be able to know that, okay, when it comes to finance, I think I can say I know what I'm talking about, right? Second, it is a globally recognized credential, and there is a solid community around it. I really felt that, when you talk to people abroad, they have no clue what Ateneo is, management engineering, doesn't really mean anything to them. But having certificates like this will actually give you the legitimacy and the audacity to even possibly work abroad. And the last, what I felt was one of the benefits was really, ito na, holding it up, okay, a chance to prove to myself that I can do it. Because I remember when I was just reading up on this CFA thing, I found out that you take 6 months to study by yourself, and that's just level 1. You have to do that 2 more times. Takes about, I think, 300 hours was their estimate to finish a level. And if I was able to do and give all those hours while working, then I felt like I could do anything, right? And that's what I hope, each of you guys will really strive towards. Maybe it's CFA, I hope it is. Maybe it's something else, maybe it's a different master's degree, it doesn't really matter. But what I felt I got from this experience was, I looked at the wall, I said, this wall is so hard to climb, can anyone actually climb it? And once you're in the top, you're like, hey, that wasn't so bad. Kaya pala. So that's what I hope you guys will be doing after today. You'll think about what are your inclinations, and then just dive in, and then just do stuff that you'll be challenged. So now, here's the part of the talk that they actually, the CFA guys really wants me to talk about, which is the program. And for all those who are not turned off by that grueling story of how difficult it is and everything, and who wants to challenge themselves to take it up a notch in finance, then listen up. This is the CFA program. It's a mark of distinction and a globally recognized professional credential in the investment industry. Like I said, Financial Times coined it as the gold standard. And more about it, it is a graduate level credential. And as I said, it is pretty global. Over 160,000 professionals around the world, over 166 countries. This is legit. It's recognized by regulatory bodies as a proxy for licensing. You'll know more about it when you start working. And it's being used by more than 400 universities around the world. So in terms of the educational content, it's really sound. And they actually keep updating it to make sure it keeps up with the times. And now I know recently they introduced portions about fintech, which I didn't have. But as a member, I can actually keep up to date and learn about the new emerging trends in the industry. So as I said, how do you get it? For those who are interested, this is the equation you have to solve. First, you have to have a bachelor's degree. Second, you have to go through each of the 3 intense levels. Next is you need 4 years of relevant work experience. So I graduated 4 years ago. I took the test. I took level 3 last year, and just this June, actually July 1, was when I can say I've been working in finance for 4 years. So it was just a few months ago that I got my CFA charter. So that's one of the first few slides ever that had comma CFA. Yeah, so it felt good. That felt good. Thanks. So that's the equation, right? And as I said, it's really known abroad as a way to really look at the different facets of finance. Because in school, you think finance is just one big blob. But when you enter, you'll realize that there's so many different aspects of finance that you can get into. And the CFA, at least based on this guy from Canada, it actually covers each part. So what are the specific things that you're going to learn if you challenge yourself to go for this? So first, let's talk about the level 1 curriculum. So it's a lot about knowledge, and each level will still cover the same topics, but in different focus, with a different focus and a different depth. So for level 1, of course, all 3 levels have ethics, and then you'll see here the different colors to talk about how heavy each level is in each subtopic. There are investment tools, so you'll learn about quantitative analysis, doing things like stat, to better understand numbers. You have economics, you have your financial reporting and analysis, which is pretty much your accounting, and corporate finance, for those who want to work, let's say, for a large multinational and be the CFO. Second, you learn about asset classes. Where do I put my money? I always get that question in any Christmas party because I'm in finance. Do I put it in equities? Do I put it in fixed income? There's some here, but they're more abroad, derivatives and alternative investments. So things that more mature markets have that I hope in time we'll have more of here. And lastly, portfolio management and wealth planning. So managing a portfolio for a retirement fund, or for example, in terms of wealth planning, how do you manage wealth for the rich or the ones with a lot of money? How should they go about it? And you'll see that at each level, you'll see the different colors there, because there's really there's a focus for each. If the first is more about knowledge, the second one is more application. You'll do a lot of solving. So for those who have a thing for math and kind of like solving, this level's for you. And lastly is more of a synthesis. So they'll give you a case study of this family with a certain background. They want to donate to this charity. They have kids who they'll have to still pay for. They have all these different things. How do you manage all of that? So you learn more about that on the 3rd level. So with all 3, you can see that you really cover the different aspects of finance. And I realized that it really helped. It really helped give me a solid foundation on what there is to learn when it comes to finance. So besides what I was talking about a while ago for me, what my 3 personal benefits are, what CFA says is it is the gold standard. There is a strong ethical foundation because if you've seen the global financial crises, finance is getting a bit of not exactly good press in terms of how well or how ethical they were. So this program is really fighting against that, really showing that we can be finance professionals who are very ethical. And we'll learn more about that later today. Next up, it's a global passport. Like I said, if you want to work abroad, this might really help. And if you want to open your network, there are different CFA institutes around the world, which you can later meet up with if you wanted to. Unmatched expertise, and as I said, prestigious network, and there's actually career sources. How do you talk to your boss? How better to apply for a job? And there are job postings on CFA if you do want to look for a job. So those are the different benefits of the charter. And like I said, global. This thing's global. This is not just a random thing that was thought about by a few guys here. It's something that has a long tradition, that has allowed it to really spread across the world as the gold standard. And the thing is, the demand for this program, or the demand for graduates of this program, is actually increasing. So you know that people who have done it and who have seen the products or the people that have finished this program realize that, hey, these guys are pretty good. We should probably get more people into this. So it is growing. The demand for this is growing. And maybe you guys can help and add to this. And it's backed by a solid institute. So people behind the scenes to make sure that this CFA program keeps running, all of these talks and all of these events keep happening. And this is the CFA Institute. So they want to lead the investment profession globally by promoting the highest standard of ethics, education, and professional excellence. And I like this part there, for the ultimate benefit of society. Because most guys might think, if you're talking about finance, you're talking all about the money, all you want to do is make money. But what's nice is that this is actually a nonprofit. People who are helping here are volunteers, like myself today. And it's nice to be able to really find a way to give back. And this is what this institute is really pushing for. More specifically, these three things. So they want to develop the future professionals to have those standards. Second, they want to deliver member value. So they really want to make sure that the people who are at top positions will be up to date with the latest trends, will really know what's happening in the finance industry. And lastly, it's to build market integrity so that people can once again trust that they can leave their hard-earned savings with investment professionals who will really take care of them and make sure that in the end, their goal isn't to enrich themselves, but to enrich you, the clients. So then you start thinking, okay, I see it, I see the relevance. How about employment? How about really getting into jobs? So this guy says, early in my career, my boss told me, to be successful, you'd better think about earning the CFA charter. There are companies here who pretty much echo what this guy is saying. And it's really a big plus if you have already taken at least the first level. It tells them that you are serious about leveling up. So where do we end up working? You know, where do people who usually typically take CFA end up? So I'm part of that big chunk there in equities, 35%. Others go into fixed income, private equity, and the like. So there are different things you can do, different investments that you can end up going. And in terms of titles, there are portfolio managers. There are people who manage wealth for other people to make sure that their savings are kept. I'm part of that second one, research analyst. So we analyze stocks or analyze companies. And I'm the guy who writes the report saying that this is a buy because 1, 2, 3. This one, you should not think about this company because of 1, 2, 3. And then there are others there. So if you want to be a chief level executive, like a CFO type, I know CFOs who do have CFAs and encourage their people to take it. And there are others here, which you can also pursue. And they end up working in these different kinds of institutions. Pretty much, I guess generally you can see it's more financial in nature, banks, investment firms, consulting, and the like. So there are quite a lot of options to go when you have the CFA. Okay. And for those who have their sites abroad, these are actually your top global employers of CFA charter holders. I'm not sure if you heard of these, but these guys manage like billions and billions of dollars. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, BlackRock, Citigroup, Credit Suisse, all these different places. They really hire CFA. And if I think to myself, if I'm gonna apply abroad, then I'm happy to have that CFA to show. Because if I put Ateneo Management Engineering, to them, they don't even know what it is, right? But to these guys, it actually means something. And here's some quotes from them. So enrollment in or completion of the CFA designation would be an asset, and it would really be advantageous if you do it. So some quotes from them. So you know that the employers actually want the CFA. But they also wanted me to talk about the other programs that CFA Institute offers. So I'll talk about this very briefly. If you want to know more, you can check out the website. We'll have more details there. So CFA is for people who really want to get deep into the investment decision-making process. You know, so for portfolio, wealth management, you want to manage institutional accounts, you go into CFA. And there are actually two other programs that the CFA Institute actually offers. One is the CIPM, the Certificate of Investment Performance Measurement, which is more for people who are dealing with risk management. I want to be able to manage which fund manager should I choose. How are the different funds performing, right? So if you have a bunch of CFA guys managing funds, who should you pick? So this other program hits that. And it's a little shorter. It's just 2 exams instead of 3, and it typically takes about 2 years to finish. And for those who are interested a bit into finance, but they don't want to be directly into investments, but let's say they work in IT, right? And they have to manage the IT of a finance firm, and they don't really understand the way it works. But I don't want to take CFA, I want to be more into IT. Then there is this last program. called the Investment Foundations Program. So this one is like, it talks about the foundations that are within the CFA, but it's only one exam. You know, it's much easier. At the same time, it's really for those who, let's say, are working in a financial firm, but not necessarily doing the investment decision-making process. So those are the three different programs being offered currently today by the CFA Institute. So with that, this is my last slide. I hope you were able to learn a little bit about my story, about how I ended up here, from there to here. And I'd like to tell you that, you know, it's not really that difficult. What's more difficult is really deciding upon yourself, not what do you want to do. So I hope you use the rest of today to really think about, to really listen, ask questions. Please ask questions later. And really get the most from these people who are taking time off their Saturdays to help you make that decision of what do you want to be when you grow up. So with that, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Enrique Fausto, for sharing your story of success. I'm sure that everyone in the room got inspired by your speech, especially
Thanks.
the graduating students who are maybe planning on taking the exams. And actually, I was inspired myself because I'll be representing my university as well in the upcoming
Wow, good luck.
Investment Research Challenge. I'll be representing UST alongside with my teammates. So you're one of our goals here. So I guess it's time for the Q&A segment. And I hope you guys submitted your questions through our CFA Society Philippines app to ask our very esteemed speaker today. So our moderator for this session is a fund manager for BDO Trust and Investment Group. Everyone, let's welcome on stage Mr. Bryce Santos, CFA.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Hello, bro. Nice job, bro.
Thanks,
Ladies and gentlemen, can we give Enrique a hand, please? That was a terrific speech. Pare,
Thank
let's
you,
sit.
thank you. Oh, okay, sure.
All right. So, guys, we only have a limited amount of time, but I understand there are a lot of questions running in your mind right now. And so I want to, first off, suggest that you visit the website of the CFA when you get home or in your mobile phones. And secondly, I suggest that you send questions to the app. I mean,
try it out.
I'm going to be asking you questions that came from the mobile app that the CFA Society employed. And man, is it terrific. It's really, it bogged me down, but it's blowing my mind right now. I'm seeing a lot of questions come in.
Okay,
And I'm not going to
let's
waste
go for
time,
it.
bro. I'm going to ask you right away.
Sige lang.
First question, pare. What are your tips and reminders to those who are planning to take a CFA exam soon? This is from John Paul.
Okay, tips. My first tip would be if you're in a relationship with someone, you have to have a sit-down meeting and explain to them why you're doing this. And you have to tell them that I'm going to be like a med student or a law student for the next 6 months, for the next 3 years. So you're really going to be spending so much time. So tip number one, if you have someone in a relationship, you got to tell them and they have to support you. If not, it's not going to work. Second tip, you have to schedule. You have to make a schedule. I literally had an Excel file to make sure that at this date, I should be done with X. By this date, I should be done with Y. Because you have 6 months and it's just you. So you really have to figure out a way to really stick to a schedule or else you won't make it. And last would be to have friends or look for people who are also taking the exam as a way to really like feed off each other's energy. Like I had friends who were also taking it up at the same time. I could ask them questions as well as there's a bit of a slight competition to kind of keep you going. So yeah, those are the 3 tips.
Nice. So it's a peer group, set a schedule, and talk to your girlfriends or boyfriends already, or your parents as well.
Yeah, your parents also, of course.
So what was your biggest challenge when you were preparing for the CFA program?
For me, it was really setting aside the time to just sit down and do it. I think, there's so many things that you want to do every day, especially after work. You're so tired. So for me, it was really setting aside the time, sitting down on the desk, and then starting. Because once you start, parang tuloy-tuloy na lang yan eh. It's more of just scheduling your day. Because to me, it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. Friday night, I didn't, just to keep myself sane and alive. Saturday morning, whole day. Evening, I'd go out. Sunday, I'd be studying the whole day then. So it's really just setting aside the time and scheduling it. That was hard.
Nice. Yeah, I heard this quote from someone who was also a CFA. The preparation for the program itself is really hard.
Yeah,
That's why CFA charter holders have a distinct appreciation of each other.
Yeah.
Because we know what
Respect.
we went through going through that. Yeah. So I have another question here.
Go
It's
for it,
from
go
Asiver. I don't want to screw his name up, but
That's okay.
Asiver, would you still recommend taking CFA for people inclined to fintech, and why?
For fintech, no, I think it depends what specifically in fintech, because there are fintechs that deal with investments. And if you're going to work in fintech, it would really help if you understood the way traditional finance works. And there's actually a bit of fintech in the program, but if I were you, I'd say do the first level and then think about it again. After the first level, okay, do I want to continue it? But at least for the first level, I think I really recommend, if you're going to go fintech, go for it. At least level one. At least level one.
Nice. All right. The next question is kind of personal. Pare,
Go lang.
were the most important persons who helped you prepare and complete the program?
Okay. It would be my parents and my girlfriend. So she's here, right? She's here with me today.
Maybe we should ask your girlfriend what tips, for tips that
So-
she would give.
Just to give you guys a real feel of how supportive she was. Sabihin ko na. So in the first level, she literally came up with a nice calendar. With okay, check this if you've already done this thing. And then this next one, you should treat yourself because you've already done this much studies. So I really got a lot of support there for all three levels. And I don't know how I'd be like. I actually think about it. Some people are miserable when they're studying. I was stressed, but okay lang. I mean, parang kaya. Stressed, pero kaya naman because I had people supporting. And my parents were very supportive also. They really made sure I would set aside time and they'd ask me, when are you gonna study na? Are you gonna study na ba? Or, he has to go na, let's say Sunday. Let's say to Tita's who has a birthday party. He has to go na, he has to study CFA. And then I'm like, yeah, study na, study na. So it really helps to get their support.
Nice. All right. The next question from Santa Nina. What is your life's motto that leads you to where you are right now? Wow, man.
Wow, that's heavy. Okay, I know na.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually, I think it was a chocolate. It's a Dove chocolate yata yun eh.
Okay.
Now, when you eat a chocolate, you open it, there was a quote. And I remember the quote went something like this eh. Test your limits and keep on going. And I remember I liked it so much, I put it on a cork board on my desk, even though it's literally like a chocolate wrapper. And I would look at it and I'd be like, am I testing the limit? Di pa. Sige, push pa. And up to this day, I really feel like that's really what's, getting me going, this quote and this idea that if you're gonna live a life, you might as well live a life to the max, as in just push it. So yun.
Nice. That's insightful, pare. I'm getting a lot of questions about the scholarship programs
Yeah.
and the other opportunities, because it's gonna be an investment.
It's
Definitely.
expensive.
There are scholarships that the CFA Society offers. I suggest that you guys visit the website and then ask the volunteers around, and don't be afraid of that investment and take the big leap, because it's definitely worth it. I mean, you'll be like this guy speaking in front of thousands. Enrique, just last question, bro.
Go lang, go lang.
What's your favorite? No. I'm gonna
What's my favorite
browse
color ba
through
to?
a number of questions. I'm gonna go
Sige.
boy abunda on you, pare.
Oh, wow,
I'm gonna
okay.
shoot a number of questions.
Stress to. Okay.
And all right, here we go. What's your favorite topic in the CFA program?
Equities.
Equities research. What did you do the next day after the third exam?
I think I went out of town with friends.
All right. And how did you celebrate when you passed the last exam?
Oh. Do you remember? I actually don't. How did I say? I remember
but
I
it
had
was
drinks with friends.
Sam.
I had drinks with friends. Yeah, we went out and I had drinks with some friends who also took the exam. It's parang lasingan na lang kasi parang stress-free. Yes! So yun.
Okay, thank you very much, pare.
Thank you.
Good job, bro.